according to numerous sources, he was telling folks, I came here to play with KD. That was why he played the 20 games. I know he had an injury, but he was saying, I came to play with KD. I ain't came to play without him. That played a role in why he only played 20 games his first year. Steve Nash comes on board. Like you said, before Steve Nash coached the game, he articulated, we don't really need a coach on a damn podcast, publicly. KD echoed that, co-signed that, okay? They were clearly looking to go someplace where they didn't have to be accountable to anybody. It wasn't the culture. It was the fact that they were able to formulate their own culture, to do what they wanted to do. That appeared to be the priority. Now, I'm going to put that on Kyrie Irving more than KD in this sense. KD wants to ball all day, every day, and he want to go home. That's what KD wants to do. Understand something that's very, very important about Kyrie Irving. Ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. With him, promoting this film on Amazon and, this anti-Semitic tropes and all of this other stuff, Kyrie literally doesn't mean harm to anybody. That's not his problem. What his problem is that his intellect far exceeds the rest of ours. See, we're all peons. His level of intellect is so far and above the rest of us that we can't possibly comprehend what he is articulating and disseminating. So if you just listen to him, Nick Friedel, this is Kyrie Irving. Just listen to me. I mean, you're asking questions, but you're not comprehending. You're not listening. All you want to do is do something to create clickbait or whatever it was that he was saying to Nick Friedel. We're not absorbing the brilliance of him. And so all of those things played a role in this situation being what it is. Of course, the organization deserves some blame because if you capitulate and you allow players to come in and completely compromise your culture, you are culpable. Kevin Durant is the face of the franchise. He wants to act like he's just another player. Every other player ain't getting over $40 million. Every other player can't average 30 a game. Every other player ain't a superstar. There's a responsibility that comes with that. He doesn't get absolved. But there's no one, respectfully, more accountable than Kyrie Irving. Because Kyrie Irving, the decisions that he has made, whether they are mistakes or not, in his eyes or anybody else, whereas everybody else was doing something for the team, every single thing you can point to about Kyrie Irving has been for Kyrie Irving. He is going to do what he wants to do, how he believes it should be done. And he don't give a damn what anybody thinks until the tsunami comes down upon him. And even then, he will double down. That's what has gone on with the Brooklyn Nets. And that's the challenge anybody that deals with Kyrie Irving has to face. Because we're peons. And he's far above the rest of us mentally.
Can I say something? That's a great job. Can I say one thing?
Of course, Mad Dog.
The Nets were dead when they fired Kenny Atkinson. Atkinson did not deserve to be fired. He did a hell of a job with that team. Irving and Durant did not, well, especially Irving, they did not want to play for him, and they fired. And once you do that as a general manager and you allow the players to pick who the coaches are, you're dead. And Atkinson goes to Golden State. He's a big coach for Kerr. Jordan loved him. He could have taken a Charlotte job. He almost got the Clipper job. Guy's a hell of a coach. And Irving didn't want to play for him. And Durant joined along, followed the leader. And once that Marks and that organization fired Atkinson, that team was freaking dead because they don't respect the coaches. And you can't have all these players. They got to be coached. Great players want to be coached. And they don't have a coach there. And that's a major problem with the franchise. Atkinson's dismissal.
I just want to push back on this narrative real quick that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are the ones that chose Steve Nash. Both these guys have been pretty open about the fact that they're not sure that Steve Nash was their first decision. I think a lot of it comes from the relationship with Sean Marks as well. So I get where everybody starts talking about, well, the franchise has capitulated to every single move. And JJ asked a question to kick this whole thing off about why they didn't make the move sooner. This is Joe Tsai putting his foot down about not trading Kevin Durant, regardless of whatever his demand was. So I think there's been a little bit of middle ground. But I will say not every single thing that KD and Kyrie have wanted to do has just been acquiesced to, guys.
No, that's a valid point. I think the thing they should have capitulated on was this summer.
I think they
agree with
should
you
have
on that.
capitulated and traded Kevin Durant and traded Kyrie Irving, and basically started over. Get some picks, get some young players. Let's restart. Let's give Steve Nash a fair chance here. I just want to push back on one thing you said, Stephen A., and then I'll let you talk real quick. I'll be super brief with this. When I said that they were attracted to the culture of Brooklyn and the roster, the depth of the young players of Brooklyn, I was talking about in direct opposition of your Knicks. And you can't tell me that they wouldn't have been able to do whatever they wanted to do playing for the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks didn't have the roster depth. They didn't have the culture. We all know that. So that's why they chose the Brooklyn Nets. It is the reason, Stephen A.
And, man, dog, by the way, Frank Vogel got fired after winning a championship in L.A.
Right.
Like, this is what players do.
All right, guys, we're up against it.
Well,
Take
hold
us
on.
home quickly, please.
Well, listen, the bottom line is you brought up the Knicks analogy. You're right about that. I just think the tsunami of the Knicks fan base, we wouldn't have tolerated a whole bunch of stuff from Kyrie that was tolerated in Brooklyn. I think that's important to point out. And in terms of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, Jay, I'm not saying that they were the ones who chose Steve Nash. Of course, that was Sean Marks, and he deserves culpability here. I'm saying that when you're the star, you know what? You do speak up and let them know what you want, as opposed to going along just to get along because you want what you want on the side.